guys, and welcome back to the Crawl Corner. We're here once again in this wonderful ranty corner for all things Formula E. So, the penultimate round of the championship has come to a close in London, round number 15 of course. And what could be said for that race? It had a little bit of everything, didn't it? Some good overtaking, a little bit of a mundane, dull start as everyone was just very much running line astern. Strategy played a big part in this race. It was pretty much whoever pitted for the pit boost first and who saved an attack mode for the end got the best result out of it, really. Sort of, anyway. Didn't apply to all of the drivers and teams, obviously, but for the most part, that's how the strategy played out. If you're an early adopter of the pit boost and saved an attack mode for the end, you did alright. So if you've never seen this series before, I brought the drivers out a maximum of 10 points based on their overall race weekend's performance. I go all the way down to 0 if they have a particularly bad one. Take a look out for bonus points. They sometimes offer some drivers do something extra special during the race. On the rare occasion I do all minus points. Those drivers do something extra special, but for all the wrong reasons. Let's take a look at the current Crawl Corner standings then going into this episode. It's on the screen now for you to take a look at. Have a look and see where your favourite driver is right now, and based on how well they did this race in particular, can you see them going up? Can you see them going down? It's all to play for on the Crawl Corner title, isn't it? Okay, the real life championship might be done and dusted, but there's 3 drivers realistically, all Brits, fighting it out at the top of the table there. Ollie Roland, of course, Taylor Barnard and Dan Tinkton. Well, who do you reckon will be leading going into the final race of the season? You'll have to wait and see. But without further ado then, let's kick things off with the race winner, shall we? Nick Cassidy! I mentioned at the start of the video, it's all about early adopter of the pit boost and then making sure you had an attack mode for the end, and that's exactly what he did do. He was the first Jaguar to pit under the percentage of between 60 and 40 window, and as a result of that came out in second place. He wasn't leading the race up to this point, but came out in second place after Nick De Vries did all his funky stuff as well. However, he had 1 attack mode left. Nick De Vries had nil points. So, as he came out of his pit boost and out the pit lane, he went and took attack mode, caught up to Nick De Vries and overtook him. The rest of the race was pretty much mundane from there, of course. He had the way he got past the other cars were just by staying in that gaggle for the initial start of the race. The other drivers then took pit boost a lot later, and he got the overlap on them, so came out naturally ahead. So he went from fighting around 5th place, which was pretty much where he qualified, to then racing for a net second, going for the win, and he did just that. Great race, great to see Nick Cassidy secure another win, of course, departing the Jaguar team now, officially leaving, onwards to DS Penske potentially. Or Maserati. One of the Stellantis groups will be having him anyway, though. And yeah, maybe slight regret for Cassidy leaving the team now at this point, of course. They've sort of ended the season on a high. You know, 3 wins in a row now for the team. So, yeah, maybe question marks there. But nonetheless, he's off to bigger and better things, no doubt, for him personally. And nice to see him round out this penultimate race with a victory anyway. Hopefully he'll do well in the next race as well. But yeah, great way for his career to come to an end at Jaguar, with a victory in the penultimate round. 9.5, I'm going to be awarding Nick Cassidy for that. Solid job, good drive, great strategy, didn't put a wheel wrong, and even said over the team radio, it's the best car I've driven all year, this. So the team are working hard, he's working hard, did a good job. 9.5 to Nick Cassidy. Second place, we come to Nick De Vries in the Mahindra. Great crucial points there for the Mahindra squad. That leaps them above Neon McLaren now, who of course at one stage 1 solitary point ahead of them going into this race, and now they have a nice comfortable gap over him with this 18 points for him, and his teammate scored some points as well, so that's good, isn't it? But Nick De Vries, great result, great drive by him today, running around P2 all race long, behind the other Jaguar of Mitch Evans throughout the most part of the race, and then as the attack modes unfolded, and Nick De Vries decided to go for attack mode, then attack mode again, and then pit boost, which turned out to not be the right strategy. Yes, he had track position. Yes, he had a couple of seconds advantage over Nick Cassidy, but once Nick Cassidy went for that attack mode, he just drove around Nick. Okay, Nick tried to put up a bit of a defence, a little bit of contact, a bit of a nose to rear crash box. That was fine. But yeah, other than that, from there on, it very much looked like Nick De Vries was going to finish second, and that's exactly what he did do. So yeah, qualified himself in the top half of the field, did a good job in the race as well, running around in second throughout the most part of it, and just did a great drive. There's nothing else can be said about that. It was a solid job. Nice to see Mahindra again doing well this season. Another podium, not quite a victory, but yeah, it's 10 points. 10 points to De Vries. Well done, well done, well done. Great result, great race. Can't fault a thing, really. Third place, we come to Pascal Verline in the first of the Porsches. Good result for Pascal Verline here, of course, for his runners-up spot in the driver's title and for Porsche to secure their manufacturers' constructors title this year as well, outscoring Nissan crucially and outscoring DS Penske as well. So a good points, all that, really crucial. Makes it sort of still mathematically realistic that the constructors can go someone else's way in the final race, but unrealistic now without something drastic happening and teams getting 1-2s and Porsches not scoring any points at all. So we'll see what happens in tomorrow's race. It's Formula E, of course, never say never, but yeah, for Pascal Verline, just a solid job overall. Was racing around inside the top half of the field, top 5 all race long anyway, and then here he is finishing third, a result of how he played out his attack modes, pit boosts, etc, etc. 9 points. 9 points to Verline, solid job, great effort, good race, and firmly on course now for runners-up spot in the title, and Porsche clinching the constructors/teams title as well. So let's see how that goes, but for now, great effort by Pascal Verline in the penultimate race at London. 9 points to Pascal Verline. Next up, we come to Stafer Van Dorne in the Maserati. No surprising result here. It was actually on merit, on pace. A good qualifying effort by the Maserati squad and good race pace overall and a good race strategy as well to get him here inside the top 5. Just missed out on a podium place, but I'm not going to hold that against him. Maserati have struggled to score points throughout the most part of this season. But again, clearly like the pit boost strategy of going early with it. Let's go early with it. Not as early as some, but still went early enough to turn it into an advantage. And then in the race itself, then took an attack mode late again and got P4 as a result, which was a great effort. Good result. That solid effort. Stafer Van Dorne was running around inside the top 7, wasn't he? Really, so he never really tumbled outside the points at any point, but was able to benefit from the others waiting a lot longer to take their pit boost, which cost them a lot of time. And for Stafer Van Dorne, it's 9 points. Solid job, 9 points to Stafer Van Dorne. Really good race, good qualifying, good race result. Didn't put a wheel wrong, and it's a good effort indeed. 9 to Stafer Van Dorne. 5th place, we come to Jake Dennis in the first of the Andrettis. Good result this, really good result actually. He qualified himself outside the top 10, I think, didn't he? So to get here into P5 is a good effort. And once again, proving take the pit boost early, take an attack mode late, you're on course for some big points. There was a lot of drivers, I must mention as well, towards the end of that race where the safety car came out for Dan Tinktum crashing, that were all in attack mode, and they lost a lot of time with that, lost a couple of minutes of their 4-minute attack mode or whatever it was, and that was a shame to see because we could have seen a totally different grid finishing result had it not been for that, but that's the racing, isn't it? But for Jake Dennis, a good result here to finish inside the top 5, and yeah, ends his season on a high potentially. Still got tomorrow's race to go, of course, but yeah, for now, a top 5 finish. I think Andretti will take that, and I'm giving him 8.5. 8.5 for the privilege of a solid top 5 finish for Jake Dennis and making some good progress through the field courtesy of a great strategy and great race pace. In 6th place we come to JeanEric Vergne in the DS Penske, and this is pretty much where DS Penske have been all season long, isn't it? This 6th to 10th sort of area. Yeah, we've seen the odd podium from them, yeah, we've seen the odd impressive qualifying performance where they're on pole and up on the front rows, etc. But for the most part they've been Mr. Consistency in terms of just getting the lower half of the top 10 of the points. And Vergne's been a master of that. He's been able to get what he can with the equipment he's been given. This race was no exception to that. I think he's done a good job again. A solid all the points there with 8 points. And it's 8 points as a result on the crawl room for him. A solid 8 out of 10 for what was an impressive performance once again. Not as good as some, but still a solid job and picking up the points for the DS Penske squad. When his teammate was out on lap 1, turn 1 pretty much. So yeah. It's a good effort there by JeanEric Vergne, and it's 8 points to him for that. Next up, we come to Eduardo Mortara in the second of the Mahindras. I mentioned with talking about Nick De Vries that it was a double points finish for the Mahindra squad, and here is Eduardo Mortara securing a P7 finish. 6 more points to add to their 18 already that De Vries scored, so a good pile of points that going into the final race of the season. That'll put them 20 plus points ahead of Maserati for fourth in the standings. I never expected that. I expected Mahindra to do well this season. They were very confident going into the season, and I believed in that confidence, but still not to this amount, it must be said. I wasn't aware that other teams would be faltering, the likes of Jaguar and Vision, of course, having a disaster. That wasn't on my hit list, to be honest. So yeah, but nonetheless, what a fantastic season it's been for Mahindra. What a great solid season it's been for Mortara as well. Here he is, okay, not getting the glory of a trophy, but still picking up crucial points for that squad and driving cleanly, driving smart. He had a coming together with Gunter on lap 1. That was very much just a racing incident, and kept himself out of trouble from then on. So good effort, well done Mortara. 7.5 to you, good effort, good points all. Not as impressive as your teammate, but still crucial points for Mahindra, and yet another double points finish for the team. Bravo, bravo indeed. Robin Frdric is next in 8th place. This helps them secure whatever position they are in the standings. It's 8th, isn't it, I think, with Kiro, Quip Pro Quo behind them or something like that. Either way, there's not many points on offer down at the lower end of the field, so whatever points they can get is crucial for whatever they are in the standings. Near Robin Frdric again, an 8th place finish. I don't think we've seen him finish higher than 8th this season at any point, have we? But yeah, here he is picking up some points, which is better than nothing, of course. And for that reason, I've given him 6.5. He can have 6.5. It's nothing overly massively special, spectacular, moving, groundbreaking, earth-shattering, but he picks up a solid amount of points, and there you go. Well done, Envision, on that. 6.5 to Robin Frdric. 9th place, we come to Norman Nato in the Nissan. That's right, it's Norman Nato in the Nissan. The Nissan powertrain looked like they were really struggling this weekend, to be honest with you. So far, anyway. We'll see what happens in tomorrow's race. But, yeah, it was just looking like they were struggling. Norman Nato, though, managing to pick up 2 points. Bloody hell. Have they managed to keep Sete Camera in the car from last time? Because he picked up a couple of points in Berlin, didn't he? After Norman Nato picked nothing up. Norman Nato nothing. There you go. There's loads more ends, isn't there? There's just too many of them. But yeah, Norman Nato disqualified on the Formula E standings anyway, unfortunately for him, due to his poor performances all season long. And when, of course, his replacement came in at Berlin, I was very much expecting them to keep Sete Camera, because I was like, well, at least Sete Camera scored something. Well, Norman Nato scored a couple of points to add to his woeful tally. But it's better than nothing, isn't it? Norman Nato in the Nissan. Disqualified anyway on the cruel corner. Has been for quite some time. Will remain that way. But hallelujah, some points. Rounding out the top 10 and summing up his season, it is Mitch Evans. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. The pole sitter. The pole sitter. Let's not forget that. What a great effort by him to secure that pole position. And then in the race itself, oh dear, oh dear. Jaguar screwed up with his strategy, making sure that he was the second Jaguar to pit out of the 2. Which compromised his race automatically. He was down there then languishing around 6th or 7th place. And then there was a tussle behind him which got a little bit fruity, and he, as a result of that fruitiness behind, got into contact with one of them. The car outbraked itself, tagged the back of Mitch Evans and tipped him into a spin. The fact he's able to finish inside the points at all is quite a miracle, really. He hit the wall quite hard as he reversed into it. Not reversed intentionally, of course, but the car rolled into the wall backwards. He'd had contact from a competitor as well and tumbled to pretty much last of the field. So the fact he's able to pick up 1 point is some sort of consolation to what has been a very difficult day for Mitch. He'd have had much more higher hopes. He'd have wanted to see where his teammate is and gone, well, how did he do that? And I wasn't able to. Not fair, guys. But we'll see how he goes for the next race. But yeah, a pole sitter to just a single point scorer. It's Mitch Evans. I don't fully blame him for the race, of course, but I can't score him massively high. I've gone for 6.5. Sorry, Mitch, that's harsh on you. It wasn't your fault. You were screwed by strategy and by contact from a competitor, which wasn't your fault. But yeah, at least he got some points out of it. 6.5 to Mitch. I know that's a harsh score. I'm sorry. Just outside the points. We've not said that much this season, have we? But it is, of course, Ollie Roland in the Nissan. The second of the Nissans. Wow, I've never said that all season long, I don't think. But yeah, the second of the Nissans is Oliver Roland. Can you believe it? Yeah, qualified outside the top 10. And as mentioned, the Nissans just struggled with pace this weekend. Well, this really sums it up. Roland was not able to make any headway at all in the race, unfortunately. Just sort of stayed where he qualified, which is a great shame for him. No points so far, but I'm sure he'll be looking to end the season on a high in tomorrow's race. Let's see what happens. But for now, it's just 6 points on the board to Ollie Roland. Be nice to see him secure another podium before season's out. But it's looking unlikely that Nissan are going to win the Teams Championship now. That's not a fault of Ollie Roland's odd bad race. It's down to Norman Nato, isn't it, of course, why they've not won the Teams Championship. But they'll be looking to do whatever they can in tomorrow's race to try and secure that. it's realistically impossible, but you never say never in Formula E, do you? And yeah, Ollie Roland, just 6 points to him. 12th place, we come to David Beckman in the first of the Kiro race. Quid pro quo, status quo, don't break my heart, my achy breaky hearts. Well done to David Beckman. This was the best we've seen of him so far this season, in all honesty. Not just in terms of qualifying, but the race itself as well. Fair play, David. Fair play. I'm impressed with you for this one. It's got to be honest, he did a good job there. Qualified himself 13th, I think it was. Racing round inside the top 10 throughout the most part of it. Pit stop strategy did not go his way at all. He was one of the last stoppers, which really didn't work out at all. The pit boost strategy for them was diabolical. It was bad for Tinctum. It was even worse for Beckman. And down the back of the pack he went. And then he climbed his way through up here into P12 in the end, of course. A couple of incidents, of course, meant he gained positions because of yellow flags and people stuffing it in the wall. But that's fine. That's not his fault. So yeah, to come on with a P12 is a solid effort, to be honest. Solid effort indeed. I've probably been harsh with this score, but I think it just sort of sums up how his season's gone. I've given him a 6, a solid 6 to David Beckman. Probably harsh by a point there, to be fair, because that was probably a good race. That was everything packaged together. We've seen slightly better qualifying from him this season, but race pace has been poor. And then we've seen good race pace from him, but a poor qualifying means it doesn't show in the race. So we've seen a little bit of everything from David, but this is the first time I think we could say he strung it together. Maybe. We'll see how he gets on tomorrow anyway. But 6 points to David Beckman. Quietly impressed with that one. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Unlucky for some, P13, and unlucky indeed it is Taylor Barnard. Oh dear, oh dear. Just a poor race. Race to forget, unfortunately, for Taylor. Didn't work it out at all well, did it? Caught up by the incident of Maxi Gunter and Mortara getting together at the start of the race. Gunter tried to make it round the first chicane with broken steering, and there just became a block in the middle of the road. Taylor Barnard, with nowhere to go, trying to overtake a car around the outside, just came to this car, approached it, had to stop, got contact from behind, unfortunately, which is a great shame, and then was able to get going then. But then it was damage limitation from then on. He was then a late adopter of the pit boost just to try something different. As we know already, it didn't work out too well. And then here he is finishing P13 in the end, but nothing to write home about. Points were always looking like a bit of a struggle after poor pace in qualifying from the McLaren car itself. But then the race was pretty much hampered immediately anyway, due to no fault of his own. Strategy didn't work out due to no fault of his own, but I don't blame McLaren for splitting the strategy, trying it with one and not the other, and etc. like that. So, yeah, one of those things. It's 5.5 to Taylor Barnard, just slightly above an average performance there, but nothing to write home about, unfortunately. Antonio Felix da Costa lines up next. What a shame for him down here in P14. Big shame. He was struggling anyway. Qualified himself down in 17. Was looking to get onto the fringes of the points and then collected front wing damage. We don't know how it happened as of the time of recording. No doubt we do when this video goes live. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, at the moment, don't know how it happened. But obviously front wing damage normally means he's hit the back of someone. But you never know. He could have hit a part of debris on the track. Could have hit a dodgy curb. Could have had contact from a dodgy overtake that chopped back in front of him. We just don't know, do we? So yeah, I'm not fully blaming Da Costa, but had to come in for a pit stop. And then thankfully there was a later safety car, which meant he caught up back to the gaggle of the pack. But then from there was unable to make much progress. 14's the best he could get out of it. So I've given him 3. 3 to Da Costa. Can thank me for those. It might have been his fault why it was the wing damage. It might not have been, but it's one of those things. And yeah, 3 to Antonio Felix da Costa. And then we come to the second of the Andrettis in Nico Muller. And there we have it, of the week for Nico Muller. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Lotterer of the week to Nico Muller. He was doing a good race, actually. He was inside the top 10, driving quite nicely. Everything looked to be going his way, and then after that second safety car, he just stuffed into the wall. Yeah, closing stage of the race, just drove it into the wall. I don't know what happened there. Might have been a brake-by-wire failure. It could have been something wrong with the car. At the time of recording, I don't know. And at the time of recording, it looked pretty stupid. So, there you go. It might be a very harsh of the week, and if it is, I do apologise. But that's life, so as they say. And yeah, unfortunately for Nico Muller, it is an of the week. Points were possible. He was running inside him, and then it all just went away. Next up we come to Sebastian Buemi in the second of the Envision's late adopter of the pit boost once again and lost out heavily as a result. The Envisions were running around well outside the points though, to be fair, so again they split the strategies a bit like McLaren's did. One went early, one went late, it worked out for one, didn't work out for the other. Who cares? Yeah, Envision, very Envision-y once again. It's 2 points to Buemi, you can thank me for him. Saw nothing of in that race, very frustrating race indeed once again. Looking to end the season on the high, no doubt, but I don't think it's coming, to be honest. Famous last words, I know. And if he has won, I promise you, this is very much recorded on the Saturday. But yeah, we'll see. But Buemi, just a very poor race once again. Very Envision-esque, very Buemi-esque. Didn't work out for him. 2 to him. Then we come to the last of the finishers in Lucas Degrassi in the Lola Apt Yamaha. It's disappointing, isn't it, when you think they've had a full season at it, but yet no real progress has been made. The Lola Yamahas lined up the back row of the grid. And then Lucas Degrassi unfortunately had 6 minutes left of his attack mode. He still had 2 minutes remaining. Come the checkered flag. He was already last of the runners anyway by this stage, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, once again, just a little strategic error there. Clearly the late safety car came out. They were hoping maybe for 2 additional laps as opposed to the 1 that they got. But yeah, missed time in the attack modes again. It seems like that's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen that, so they'll take a penalty, but he'll still end up last of the runners anyway. He might finish behind Sam Bird, because they might classify Sam Bird despite the fact he were in the pits. If he does, oh god, I've got these 2 drivers the wrong way around, how dare I. But yeah, yeah, Degrassi, just a very poor race. It's 2 points to him. 2 points, no pace from the Lola Yamaha, and once again a strategic gamble didn't pay off. A strategic error crept in again maybe as well. But yeah, nonetheless, taking a heavy penalty no matter what happens. It might put him behind Bird, it might not, but it doesn't matter. He's well down here anyway. And it's 2 points to Lucas Degrassi for yet another disappointing day at the office for the Lola Apt Yamaha squad. Then we come to the list of DNFers, but as I mentioned, Sam Bird might be classified as a finisher, but ended the race in the pits. Yeah, Sam Bird, what a disappointing race, to be honest. Got caught up with his teammate with the Gunter incident. I mean, how unlucky is that? Gunter's there, Taylor Barnard hits the back of him, Sam Bird nowhere to go, and touches the back of Taylor Barnard, then gets a thump in the back as well, just for good measure from Zay Maloney. What a shame. But yeah, the race then, of course, they were able to regroup, get back onto the back of the pack as a result of the safety car caused by the stranded Gunter car. And then they went for the early adoption of the pit boost, which looked out to be a really good idea. Got himself inside the top 5 at one stage. Unfortunately for him, he went for attack mode and then immediately the second safety car came out for Dan Tinktum's accident. So he got 2 minutes of attack mode that he'd just taken, and then it just all got depleted away while he was behind the safety car, and that cost him 3 places taking that attack mode, so he dropped to 8th from that. There, of course, from there, he was a sitting duck. He had much less percentage than everyone else, of course. To be able to pit for your pit boost, you have to be within the 60 to 40% window. He'd used a lot more energy than everyone else, so he was a couple of percent down. And, of course, there were other cars around him still on pit boost attack mode. So, yeah, it was a shame. And he tumbled outside the points and then ended the race in the pits. I don't know why he ended in the race in the pits, but once he tumbled out of points, it was sort of didn't matter anyway, did it? So yeah, Sam Bird, frustrating race that. Points were definitely possible after a poor qualifying of 20th, which was a shame, but looked like something may have clambered his way back into it after a disappointing qualifying, disappointing start to the race. A ballsy strategy may have paid off, but unfortunately it didn't. 4 points to Sam Bird for that. I don't knock him for trying. I don't knock the team for trying either. They tried something, it didn't work. And that's a shame, but there you go. 4 to Sam Bird. And then we come to the second of the Kiro race, Quid Pro Quo, status quo. Don't break my heart, my achy breaky hearts, in Dan Tinktum. And there we have it. I'm sorry to say it has to be Lotterer of the Week to Dan Tinktum for being really overly aggressive, trying to get past JeanEric Vergne and just stuffing the car into the wall. Yeah, big damage really, wasn't it? He hit that quite hard, to be fair, so I hope he's okay. No doubt he's a bit winded. But what a shame. What a shame. Qualified himself inside the top 4, which was a mighty effort once again. In the early stages of the race was looking like he was going to be on the fringes of the podium once again. The race itself, it didn't work out quite well. They were a late adopter of the attack modes, tumbled to around 8th place on merit in the race, so lost a few places there. And then obviously got himself into the attack mode. He had an attack mode saved after his pit boost. Tried to utilise that and take advantage of it and tried to reclaw the positions that he'd lost as a result of the poor strategy. Got it wrong, stuffed it heavily into the wall. Has to be an of the week for that, I'm afraid. Simply for the fact as well that Envision ended up picking up some points, and I know they're really close in their fight for the runners-up spot, second to last spot. I don't know what in the team standings, but Envision getting those extra points over them, it's a shame because, you know, they could have been on for a lot more of that race. Okay, admittedly, strategy went wrong and cost himself like double the amount of points. He was racing for 7th instead of like 4th. But then, of course, he threw it all away then by doing the move he did. Had he not made that move, it'd have been some points for the Kiro squad and probably would have outscored that Envision that snuck into 8th as well. So, yeah, shame that. Big shame, but nonetheless, it is a Lotterer of the Week to Dan Tincton. Zay Maloney is next, of course, in the second of the Lola-apt Yamaha cars, and what a shame to see him pretty much out on lap 1, really, effectively. He crashed into the back of the 2 parked McLarens that got parked up as a result of Gunter going off. Not his fault, blindsided, tried to go around the outside, and then he was like, oh shit, cars, hit the back of him. Initially went into the pits for a front wing, but then it turned out he got suspension damage and later retired in the race as a result of that. So what a shame. What a shame for him. Really, his race was over before it got going. It's 2.5. 2.5 a maximum of 5 retirement can score. I didn't reiterate that when talking about Sandbird, but the retirements can only score a maximum of 5. So 2.5, it's half of that. So it was very difficult to judge what he could have done, what he was capable of. The low-lap Yamaha, of course, lining up on the back row of the grid, so it looked like it was going to be a struggle anyway. But yeah, 2.5 to Maloney. What a tough race. Then we come to Jake Hughes in the second of the Maseratis. What a shame to see Jake out of this race, to be honest with you. Look at where Van Dorne finished, and it was contact with his teammate. We put him out on lap 1, turn 2, really. But that wasn't Van Dorne's fault. He was going into a 3-wide situation. There was a little bit of bumping and boring, and Van Dorne's car just snapped outwards slightly, and it just caught the back of Jake Hughes's car. The back of Van Dorne's car caught the front of Jake Hughes's car, and was just a light touch, but it was just enough to bend the wheel and just bend the track rod, and then the car was like pointing like that. So it was race over from there, unfortunately, and that's a huge shame. Real shame that. It was like teammates came together, but they didn't really. It could have been anyone, and that was just a really unfortunate result and sums up Jake Hughes' season, to be honest with you. Once again, a bit like Evans with his unlucky result. So yeah, after a strong qualifying for both Maseratis, seeing where Van Dorne finished, Jake Hughes could have been inside the top 5 this race as well, but that's a shame. So yeah, it's 3 points out of a maximum of 5 for Jake Hughes. His race was over really before it began, but if this pace is anything to go by, look forward to seeing how they get on in tomorrow's race. And then last but by no means least, we come to Maxi Gunter, also out on lap 1, of course. I've already spoken about him, mentioning several other drivers. But unfortunately, he got through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, and then exit of turn 4 or turn 5. I'm not sure which one that one's counted as in particular. He just came together with Mortara. Seemed like neither wanted to yield, going down the hill as they went into the first chicane, as they went into the outside section, and made contact. It broke the track rod on the front right of his car, so his wheel was pointing like that. He went around the left-hander, of course, but then when he tried to turn right, the wheel wasn't turning right, and he retired on the spot in the middle of the track, unfortunately. Caused a bit of a bottleneck, but that wasn't his fault. Yeah, he could have gone maybe straight on down that escape road. He had no one else around him, but it's very tricky to judge. Very easy to go, oh yeah, I'm going to aim for there, but you don't know who's going to swoop round you. He could have taken someone else out with him as a result of that, and we'd all be shouting at him, calling him an idiot, wouldn't we? Unfortunately, he picked up damage in a really tricky situation, a tricky spot. Didn't really have anything to go by. He just sort of couldn't do right for doing wrong in that situation and just abandoned the car in the middle of the road, which was unfortunate, but one of those things. It's 3 for Gunter as well. Same score as Jake Hughes. A maximum of 5. Couldn't see what he was capable of this race weekend, unfortunately. Over before it began. Would have been easily inside the top 6, though. Matching where his teammate finished, potentially. But yeah, a shame for that. 3 to Gunter. So there we have it, guys. Those were the runners and riders of the first race here in London. The penultimate round of the championship, of course. Let's take a look at those crucial championship points going into the final race of the season. It's on the screen now for you to take a look at. Have a look and see where your favourite driver is right now. And that Lotterer of the Week has cost Dan Tincton somewhat, you may say. A little bit of a gap now. It's between Taylor Barnard and Ollie Roland still for this title. Who will wrap it all up? You'll have to find out in Wednesday's episode. Here on the Cruel Corner, let's see who comes out on top. The rest of the riders and runners, of course, it's all still very tight, all still much of a muchness. Anyone can take any other position, really, from fourth to about, is it 8th, 9th on those lists? I haven't got it in front of me, but there's still a lot to play for. It's still very, very tight in and around those, you know, 4th to 10th sort of area. And yeah, we'll find out in the final round of the championship how it all lines up. But for now, it's a 2-horse race realistically, I would say. Mathematically, very much still a 3-horse race. This is Formula E. We don't know what can happen, but something mad usually does. But yeah, it's going to be a 3 Brits, 1, 2, 3, provided nothing goes wrong for Tinkton once again. But still, I can't believe it. It's going to be such a great race. And what a way to end off the season. A massive thanks as always goes out to JW97, of course, of JW Talks Motorsport, for providing me with the scoreboard that you saw on your screen and for the driver icons in the corner of your screen as well. Without him, this series would be more pointless than it already is. Massive thanks to him, buddy. Really do appreciate it as always. So I'll see you all for Wednesday's episode. As always, we've got the Formula 1 in between. I've got 9 hours to record 3 videos, so that should be fun. Here's number 1. I've got number 2 and number 3 coming tomorrow. So yeah, wish me luck, guys. Wish me luck. If any are late, I've had it. I've absolutely had it because I'm on holiday on Thursday and I'm working all the way till Wednesday. So don't know where I've got time, but I'm sure I'll find it. Here's episode 1 anyway. Hopefully this one's out on time for you. Well, we'll see anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for the continued love and support with the series and the channel as a whole. And as always, much love.